Post round is presented by AT&T. Connect everything, and it changes. U.S. Open action from Oakmont. 9 times before it has been contested at this anchor site, and so many times before it has identified a new champion. Taking a look at our top 10, all but Adam Scott without major distinction. It'll be Scott and Sam Burns in your final pairing at the 125th playing of the United States Open. Joe Musso pleased to be in studio alongside Shane Bacon after another tough day out there at Oakmont, but aren't they all? This one a little less tough in terms of scoring average across the field, but Sam Burns finds a way to red numbers with some spectacular play down the stretch and the putter once again. Looking at Burns, I think comfortable is a word that comes to mind of the way that he navigated those 4+ hours of golf. Is that a fair estimation?
I think he's one of those players that seems comfortable all the time. I mean, you think about who he's friends with, comfortable players that seem confident in who they are and how they play. Him on the greens, no 3 putts for the week. One of 2 players in the field that has avoided 3 putts around these tough greens at Oakmont. I mean, the golf game is comfortable. The demeanor is comfortable. Where he's from is comfortable. I mean, even last week, he comes so close to the win. You could kind of shy away considering what happened in that playoff for Sam Burns. He bounces right back at the toughest test in golf in the U.S. Open at Oakmont and has played sophisticated golf for 3 days. And I look at Sam Burns as a player, even at 18, hits it in that right rough, able to kind of chop it out there, get it on the green, and it almost looked like he was going to make that 45-footer. And I mean, Sam Burns is not a player that's played great in major championships, but he does have a lot of wins throughout his career on the PGA Tour. And I look at him as a Gary Woodland type. You know, he's done a lot. He hadn't done a lot of majors. He's right there. He has an opportunity on a leaderboard that isn't the sexiest leaderboard we've seen in major championships the last couple of years. He's as good of a player and as good a name on that board as anybody else. And like Woodland did at Pebble Beach some time ago, he'll look for that major moment at a storied spot at Oakmont on Sunday. Comfortable here on Saturday. Sunday's pressure is something different. You use the word sophisticated to describe the golf of Sam Burns. I think it's a word that we can always apply to Adam Scott, who will comprise that final pairing. The sophistication and the putter doing enough on this day for Scott to find his way into that final pairing. He's already cemented in the history of this game, that aspirational move of Adam Scott. But what would a second major mean to the legacy, and how does he get there on Sunday? Well, he's just got to kind of stay in front of himself in terms of how you can play this golf course. You know, he's made 4 bogeys over the last 2 rounds around Oakmont. He has not made a double bogey. He's avoided disaster. But this is a guy that, you know, you think back to 2012 at the Open Championship, is standing on the 15th tee with a 4-shot lead on Sunday to get another major title. And he goes bogey, 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 bogey. Ernie Els makes birdie at 18. All of a sudden, he's walking away without the claret jug when you think it was absolutely his. In considering, you know, where he was in his career, it's like, okay, Adam Scott's going to win 4 or 5 major titles. But, Joe, you know, we've been so lucky in these majors over the last couple of years. You think about how many have won by Scotty, and we get Rory this year at Augusta, and you've got Bryson, and now you've got a leaderboard. Sam Burns, 1 career top 10 in major championships. J.J. Spaun, 0 top 10s in majors. Adam Scott has 1 since 2019. And Victor Hovland, who we're going to talk about, his best finish at a U.S. Open was when he was an amateur at Pebble Beach back in 2019. This happens when the golf courses get tough. Occasionally, the good players struggle and maybe some quote-unquote no-names play well. And you think about Adam Scott and the opportunity he has here, there is no Ernie Els. There really isn't a Scotty Scheffler. We're going to get into those names in a bit. Rory's long gone. Bryson misses the cut. If you're going to win one of these at this point in your career, maybe a last chance to do so, could it be this leaderboard?
12 years since that Come On Ozzie at Augusta would be the longest gap between a first and second major championship if it is his story to be written on Sunday. Do you put any credence into that? The fact that we're looking at a largely unexperienced first page of the leaderboard. Adam Scott, as you mentioned, over this last decade hasn't really popped at the majors, but having 1 in the pocket, does that help him sleep any better overnight here into Sunday?
I think it does, and I think maybe the attitude helps as well. I saw a quote from Adam Scott earlier in the week. He was asked, you know, how do you play well? What has to happen for you to contend at this U.S. Open at Oakmont? And he said, I'm in the field, and somebody's got to win this. And now for Adam Scott, he's in a position where he could be the one that takes it down. And you think about some of the champions around Oakmont, you think about what they've done in their careers. Most of them, if not all of them, have played extremely well at Augusta National. To me, that goes back to the greens. And I think something sneaky about Augusta that we don't talk enough about, you don't have to be a great putter to win at Augusta. Think about some of the players that have won there. Bubba Watson, not a great putter in terms of how he is statistically on the PGA Tour. Sergio Garcia, not a great putter.
Yeah.
Adam Scott, not a great putter. When the greens are this tough, everybody struggles. And for Adam Scott, he knows people are going to miss 4 and 5 footers. Maybe Sam Burns is not. But if people start to miss short putts like Sam Burns, Adam Scott understands he doesn't have to putt perfect to win.
We're going to all get beat up. Just get the ball in the hole. And Adam Scott has done a sound job of that. Tee to green is where he has made up most of his strokes throughout this contest. And it would be such a story if it is Adam Scott on Sunday. 18 holes of high-stakes stuff between now and then. J.J. Spaun still a part of this story after opening up with 66 the round of the day on Thursday. He's just one shot off the lead, does give one back at the last that he'll want, but I'm fixated on 17. He watches Sam Burns chip one to kick in range, and he's got about 20 feet for a birdie of his own, and he rolls it in with the most conviction of any putt we've seen him roll throughout this week, and that is a high bar that he has set. That circle at 17 tells you what about who he might be on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great point, and you think about some of the players he's had to face off against. He doesn't shy away from anybody. 39 of 54 in terms of greens and regulation this week for J.J. Spaun. The game just translates here. I mean, I think about Angel Cabrera in 07. The game translated. You know, you think about Dustin Johnson, kind of height of power back in 2016. He understood the ball striking was going to carry him to a U.S. Open title. I think for J.J. Spaun, it's much of the same as we saw at the Players. Let's continue to lean on the ball striking. Putts are going to go in. I totally agree with you, Joe, on terms of what he did at the 17th. It's, okay, you can make a birdie. I can roll in a 40-footer. And yeah, Adam Scott did the same thing. I mean, it just feels like we're setting ourselves up for an opportunity to have 3, 4, 5 names in the hunt on Sunday, considering how condensed this is and considering the experience.
Just get it done on Sunday. Don't let it bleed to Monday if you're J.J. Spaun. That's where things came undone at TPC Sawgrass. Want to talk about Viktor Hovland as well, because he had an opportunity to be right there with the 3s and the 4s at the end of this day, but bookends it with a wayward drive at 1, a wayward drive at 18. The confidence that maybe we saw about the 3 aforementioned, maybe in moments we didn't see in Viktor Hovland. How do you assess this scorecard? And is this Vic's moment? And if not, when is Vic's moment? You're going to have your Schefflers in the field more times than not. You're going to have your McIlroys and your Schauffeleys to contend with. No disrespect to the top of this leaderboard, but if not now, when for Viktor Hovland?
I think Viktor Hovland is the best golfer on the planet currently without a major title. And that's no disrespect to names like Ludwig Oberg. I think he's a great player, and I think he's obviously shown signs at major championships. But when you kind of look at the resume, the players that they are, who they are in their career, what they've done, how close they've been, I think it's Viktor and everybody else. And so I think you're spot on. If not now, when? For Viktor Hovland, the golf course kind of sets itself up for Viktor Hovland. You don't have to be great on the tightly mowned areas. You know, I think Viktor, and we were talking about this as we were watching him come down the stretch, that great shot he hit at 17. Viktor's a really good pitcher of the golf ball when you've just got to deliver kind of the bottom of the club to the back of the ball and you don't have to pick it perfectly. We saw that at 17. We saw that throughout the day. I think Viktor has to go in tomorrow thinking I'm the favorite and I'm the guy everybody's got to be the most scared of, considering the resume and considering the ball striking. You said a couple of wayward drives, 1 and 18. Other than that, hit the ball well.
I love where you're going here. The weakness of Viktor Hovland has been the chipping. You don't have to chip it. You're luck of the draw here.
Just hacking it out.
The weakness of Adam Scott is the putter. Just get it in 2. You'll be fine. Everybody's struggling right now. It'll be a struggle once again Sunday at Oakmont, and we will see who comes out of it. Whether it's one of those 4 or someone further down the board, we will explore all that coming up here on HQ Post Round. How about the most wins without a major since the start of the 2019 season? Viktor Hovland took the playoff by storm 2 years ago, but then he falls short in Rochester. He's scared it at a major before another opportunity looms on Sunday at the U.S. Open. More to come here on HQ straight ahead. We'll get you out to the site at Oakmont. Patrick McDonald with a first-hand look. He'll offer his thoughts next. Back on HQ Post Round, it is a marathon, not a sprint at a U.S. Open, but the pace picked up by 1 with Sam Burns moving this lead to 4 under par. J.J. Spaun giving chase, but a bogey at the last has him in the penultimate pairing. It will be Burns and the long-tenured Adam Scott comprising your final pairing, the 125th playing of the United States Open. And for more, we take you out to Oakmont, where our eyes and ears on the ground. Join us now. Patrick McDonald here to offer thoughts. And Patrick, we know it's been a marathon of your own out there at Oakmont. You were on the Viktor Hovland group. I'm always interested in your musings. Take me to the top of the notebook. What's jumping off the page at you right now?
Got to be Adam Scott, right, Musso, right, Shane? I mean, this guy coming in at 44 years of age, about to turn 45, turning back the clocks, and just absolutely striping the golf ball today. I mean, it was absolute class personified. And the Pittsburgh fans are very much behind Adam Scott. I think they realize this guy has put in so much work over these last 2 decades, 3 decades approaching, that to get back to this point, almost, north of a decade since that Masters victory, they really appreciate it. And so for Adam Scott to put himself into this position, he's well liked among the media, he's well liked among his peers, he's well liked among his caddies. It'd be one of the more popular victories, I think, in a very long time.
It's a great point there, and Shane, it has me thinking about the superpower of these players that we often talk about. Adam Scott's being ball striking, maybe hasn't been even up to his level of expectation this week. Whose superpower amongst these contending maybe offers the biggest advantage in your eyes?
I mean, I think it's Sam Burns, and the fact that he's continuing to roll the rock the way he is. I mean, you think about Sam Burns on these greens. He's been the best putter on the PGA Tour this season. No 3 putts this week for Sam Burns. And I mean, Patrick, this is a player that I feel like you've been high on for a long time in terms of Sam Burns. To get around these greens, I mean, you got a chance to play Oakmont, you got a chance to walk Oakmont. We were talking about it earlier. Just to give people an idea of how tough it is to go around Oakmont 54 holes without a 3-putt, considering one of 2 players to do so.
It's absolutely insane, Shane. So through 2 rounds, there were 14 players who had 5 or more 3-putts. Like you mentioned, Sam Burns has 0 right now. And I feel like the stigma around putting, like being a good putter, is that it's not part of the skill set, right? We look at tee to green players, we look at ball strikers, but you got to roll your rock around this place. Do you liken them to Augusta National? I think these green complexes are much more severe than Augusta National. And we've seen Burns, it almost fuels him, right? When he gets up and down, he made a number of crucial up and downs. He was out of position all day off the tee. This was one of those days that was pretty tough for him. The tactical error on 2, the one in the bunker there on 14, a short birdie chance, making par there. You saw him give a little bit of a fist pump as well. The putter is absolutely a superpower. You're dead on, Shane, and it's not one of those superpowers that's going to wane under pressure.
Patrick, you allude to the fact that the crowd might belong to Adam Scott on Sunday at Oakmont, but they're just looking for great golf, and Sam Burns is someone who's presented that throughout this week. You allude to the temperament as well, and is that something you've seen mature in Sam Burns? I don't want to give credit to Scottie Scheffler for anything and everything, but he does spend plenty of time in his midst. Do you think there's any aura rubbed off from one to the other there? This looks like a young man who has matured and is now ready maybe for his major moment.
They did watch a TV show last night together, Paradise on Hulu. I haven't seen that one. I'm going to have to check it out, do my research, get into the nitty-gritty. But Burns has always been a quiet, fiery type of guy. You think back to the Ryder Cup in 2023 when the United States team was stuck in the mud. It wasn't Justin Thomas giving it to the European crowd. It wasn't Max Homa. It was Sam Burns. Remember, he was throwing the F-bomb at them. He was waiting for them to talk back to them when he was making putts from every which way. He's always been this type of fiery competitor, and Scheffler even alluded to it after his round, saying their matches one-on-one get very heated. He's as competitive as Scheffler. We talk about how competitive Scheffler is because he's always entering the winner's circle, but Burns is up there right with him. And so I think that friendship of him, that kinship, going back and forth and competing against each other on a weekly basis obviously helps the cause as well.
Little dystopian paradise, I will offer that, Patrick. It's a good watch, but make sure that you're in the mood for it. Shane, we'll take it back here in studio for a moment. We talked about experience and the lack thereof being the through line of the first page of this leaderboard outside of Adam Scott and what he did what feels like forever ago. When we hear what Patrick just said about Sam Burns and sort of the world that he's built from himself, can you gain residual experience from being around greatness in the way that he has been lately?
I think so. I mean, I think about Mark O'Meara back in 1998. He wins 2 majors. Who was he hanging out with and playing a whole bunch of golf with? The best player in the world and arguably the best golfer of all time. He goes out there the next year and has his career season. I think being around greatness is an extreme measure of what you want to be and who you can become. I mean, I look at this leaderboard, Joe, and we've talked a lot about inexperience in terms of these players on top of this leaderboard. You also look at this leaderboard and you see a lot of different skill sets. The one thing I see on the top of this leaderboard is guys that are able to kind of deal with anything coming their way. Sam Burns, relatively chill as a player. J.J. Spaun, extremely chill as a player. Adam Scott, one of the most chill guys of all time in terms of how he plays golf. And Victor Hovland. I mean, you got to go down to Tyrrell Hatton to find somebody that will throw a club from time to time. And I mean, even Teal Hatton said after, this golf course fits me because it kind of gives everybody fits, and I'm always like that when I play the game. So I think the through line on this leaderboard is basically the personality of these players and who they are as golfers when the first tee and the gun goes off. I mean, look at that. Carlos Ortiz, relatively relaxed player. Even Tristan Lawrence. I mean, you don't see him getting that upset on the golf course. Oakmont is going to drive everybody nuts. This leaderboard is a lot of players that can handle all of it that's thrown at them.
I know you're going to give Tyrrell credit for that, but you said it even before he said it. The observations of Shane Bacon, always welcome here on CBS Sports HQ. We've got more coming here on HQ Post Round. We will push it forward to our final round and how the USGA might push those buttons once again. But for now, you know you can always join the conversation and extend it even further on the Early Wedge 5 times a week. All the latest news and notes and wagers you need. Download, subscribe, and enjoy the Early Wedge. Coming up, only 18 between you and history. A proper test and a proper champion await. But who will it be? We explore next on HQ.